Louisville junior quarterback Lamar Jackson could make himself eligible for next spring's NFL draft. He would likely be a first-round pick. So today could be his final home game as a Cardinal. And we welcome you to the ACC on ESPN, an Atlantic Division matchup between the Syracuse Orange and the Louisville Cardinals. Along with former collegiate and NFL linebacker Ray Bentley, I'm Mark Neely. Ray, last year these teams played in the Carrier Dome, a game dominated by Louisville, and Lamar Jackson really used that game to springboard himself to the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, and he started early in that game. They jumped on him 21-0, and just 4 plays is all they ran to get this done. And it started out a play-action pass, a great fake by Jackson. He's got a receiver wide open down the middle of the field. Nobody home for the Q's defense, so they get the ball the next series. Hey, it worked once. They try it again. Another shot down the middle of the field. This will get them into the scoring zone, and they'll punch a touchdown in. And so Jackson, he's not done yet. He throws it on the next series, the 4th play of the game. He gets him downtown again. And then, of course, he'll finish it off himself with a big touchdown run. And at some point, you run out of superlatives when you're talking about Lamar Jackson.
610 yards of total offense for Jackson in that game, which again led him to the Heisman Trophy last year. This season, Ray, is he better than last year?
Well, Dino Babers said as much, and so did the defensive coordinators for Syracuse, and I agree with him. I think he's stronger. He's more accurate throwing the football. He uses his eyes better to manipulate defenders. He's better at calling audibles, which he does more often. And he's still the best athlete on the field each week. And is he competitive? He fights for everything out there.
And speaking of second-year Syracuse head coach Dino Babers, when we talked with him this week, he mentioned a story. He said, hey, when we had a league meeting and Lamar Jackson was there, I went up and I grabbed him and touched him just so I could tell my players, hey, he is not just an aberration.
Right,
no,
he's not a
touch him and
ghost.
tackle him. But that was a game that really stuck with Syracuse, and I'm sure with Louisville fans as well, with that big performance. And we'll see how it plays out in 2017. And Bobby Petrino, his 8th overall season, his 4th season in his 2nd stint, coaching in his 100th career game in those 2 stints as the Cardinals head coach.
Coach Petrino calls the plays for this Cardinal offense, and Dino Babers played him a very high compliment, said he thinks he's one of the best play callers that he's ever encountered.
Syracuse won the toss and deferred, so Cole Murphy will kick off for Syracuse wearing the white tops. Cardinals will be hard to miss. They are in the all red with Samuel Beck, and that's going to be to the end zone for a touchback. Well, last week against Virginia, Lamar Jackson made college football history.
Lamar Jackson has over 3,000 yards passing this season, 1,000 yards rushing, the only player in FBS history with consecutive seasons with those numbers.
He's in my top 5, I guarantee you that.
Pretty remarkable, 3,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards in the same season. He's the first to do it 2 consecutive years.
Start out with a little unbalanced line.
Jackson on the zone read, keeps it, breaks 1 tackle and a second, rides a tackler all the way across midfield, and it looks like deja vu all over again for Syracuse. Ray, a 29-yard run on the game's first play.
And he ripped through 2 tacklers too. I mean, they didn't have a chance at him. Evan Foster missed him, and so did Kendall Coleman.
A 29-yard gain for the Cardinals on their first play. They're at the 46-yard line of Syracuse. Jackson under center this time. Stanberry, the tight end, in motion. And he hands off. There he goes. Williams. Malik Williams. And on 2 plays, Louisville scores a 46-yard touchdown run for Malik Williams. And bam, 6-0 Louisville.
And there's no Lamar Jackson involved in this one. This is a straight up handoff, no zone read option, anything like that. But Syracuse is so concerned about where Jackson is, and they forgot about Williams.
Well, Dino Babers probably thinking to himself right now, Ray, I've seen this show before, and I don't want to see it from this point on the rest of the day. But
deja vu all over again.
Plant and Creaky with the point after. 36 seconds into the game, it's 7-0.
Jackson starts this thing out, and it's his typical zone read. He gives a little fake there. He breaks 1 tackle, breaks another tackle. He's so strong. And that set him up into good field position, and then they just run the zone read. A couple of more missed tackles for the Syracuse defense, which is a little bit on the ropes. They had their worst half of the season. The last half they played, giving up 40 points to Wake Forest, and now they got to take on Lamar Jackson. It's not an easy deal.
And you saw the two Williams running backs for Louisville there on the bench. Day Williams and Malik Williams, who'd both been injured a chunk of this season, and they have both back as of last week. And Malik Williams is the first Williams to make a statement in this game today.
And that's something Coach Petrino told us. They have a tendency to sit around and wait for Lamar to make a big play. He says he tries to get someone else to say, hey, I want to be that big play guy. And he got it out of Williams on that play.
So with the breeze, they squib it inside the 5. Sean Riley brings it to the 20, 25. Cuts to the outside of the 30. Cuts upfield to the 35. And a nice return for Sean Riley. And the big question for Syracuse, who's going to start at quarterback? Eric Dungy warmed up before the game last week against Wake Forest, did not play. Zach Mahoney got the start, played very well in the first half, not so well in half number 2. It was kind of a team collapse in half number 2 last week, and it is going to be Mahoney who gets the start for the second straight week.
And there's bad weather coming, so if they're going to get something going with this passing offense, now is the time, and I expect they will light it up. Mahoney was unconscious in the first half last week. They rang up 38 points.
They're on the jet sweep. Here's Phillips to the 40, to the 41-yard line. Picks up about 6 yards on first down. We also have to mention that Dante Strickland, starting running back, is out. He appeared to tweak a hamstring early in last week's game against Wake Forest on a touchdown run. Did finish the game, but is out for this one.
Right, and that puts Mo Neal in the spotlight, and I really like the way he runs between the tackles.
There is Neal in the backfield. He fakes the handoff to him. Mahoney's pass comes to Devin C. Butler, and he'll have a first down right to midfield, where he's brought down by the safety D. Smith in a 9-yard gain.
And here comes the tempo. This is what Syracuse wants to do. They have run the second most plays in the country this season, and after they get that initial first down, they like to crank it up and go fast.
They run a lot of plays. He ran 53 plays in the first half. Last week, a pass out to the edge, missed by Phillips, incomplete. Doesn't miss many, though. Irvin Phillips, senior at West Haven, Connecticut, 213 career catches, a school record.
Number eight, 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
Goes against one of the other receivers, Ishmael. The offensive pass interference.
Yeah, it's basically a pick route, a rub route, and he got a little too aggressive in trying to pick the defender who was chasing Irvin Phillips.
But Ishmael and Phillips, really the two key receivers for Syracuse. And you mentioned the weather. We have a front approaching. It's warm now in the 60s, but very gusty. We have a cold front and thunderstorms on the way. There's a pass out into the flat for Devin C. Butler. He gets back to the 40 of Syracuse. You see the flags that are really flying around like crazy. It's 66 degrees now and a close to 30-mile-per-hour gust. Showers are on the way with a thunderstorm possible around halftime. That front's supposed to move through quickly, but when it does, the temperature's supposed to drop by about 20 degrees. So that's what's on the table weather-wise. And a pass. Is it picked off? Looking for Phillips, and yes, it is.
That's Jair Alexander. He's called the best player on the entire defense. And he showed as much last week. Question is, did he get his feet in? And Mahoney was trying to shoot it into the hole against cover 2, and he just overshot his intended receiver, Irvin Phillips. There's the catch. Phillips is blocking the feet, but it sure appears that they dragged and they were fine. Yeah, that toe's dragging right there. I think this would be pretty easy to determine.
Alexander came back last week. He's missed 6 games this season. Injury, broken hand. Had 5 picks a year ago, which was tied for second in the conference.
Yeah, when I put on the film watching them play Virginia last week, he jumped out immediately. He's not the biggest guy, 5'11", 192, but he was hitting folks, flying around the field. I mean, it was fun to watch. He picked it right up again this week.
Our replay official, Tom Zamorsky, taking a look at that. So a referee down on the field, Riley Johnson, holding a play while
the ruling on the field of an interception is under further review.
So while the replay booth takes a peek at that, we'll take a quick timeout here in Louisville.
It's not a play.
Come back to the ACC on ESPN. Replay officials had a good look at that Jair Alexander interception, and it looks, Ray, like that right foot drag, and the call is going to stand.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about the fact he was dragging the right foot, and the left foot did not get out of bounds before the right one hit the ground. He had possession. A nice interception by Alexander.
Peter Sermon there on the left, the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals. His defense gets the Syracuse turnover. Jackson's pass is caught at the 45 of Syracuse. This is Jalen Smith. His first catch of the game, pushed out by Christopher Frederick.
Little bootleg action there, and I thought Jackson had a guy in the post. He wanted to throw it deep. He had a shot at it.
Team leading 45th catch of the season for Jalen Smith, and a first down at the 38. Syracuse to the 19-yard catch. Kept by Jackson. This time Syracuse reads it well, and no gain. Let's take a look at our impact players with the Cardinals on offense.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Jalen Smith as the wide receiver. He's been outstanding this year. Made an unbelievable one-hand catch last week. And then Zaire Franklin, the linebacker, third-team All-ACC last year. He's going to be responsible for tackling that man, Lamar Jackson, throughout most of this afternoon.
After just a gain of 1, second down and 9. Jackson keeps again, running right, a spin move, and Rodney Williams will get credit for the tackle, Ray, but may not have actually touched him.
Hey, he got enough of him. Anytime you're one-on-one with Lamar Jackson in space and he goes down, you did a pretty good job.
And the weather has arrived. We've had a little bit of rain throughout the morning and afternoon, but now it's really starting to come down. So you see the fans reacting. The smart ones brought their rain gear.
Yes, they're taking cover.
Jackson under some pressure, lets it go to the near side, and a stretching attempt by the tight end Stanberry, incomplete inside the 20.
A little bit overthrown, but what I was mostly impressed, the move that Jackson makes at the last second. He steps up and then he'll step to his right, and that avoided another guy, and that allowed him the time to make the throw. His pocket awareness and ability and vision in there is outstanding.
They have a fourth down at 5. Not a surprise at this spot in the field to see Louisville go for it.
No, not at all.
Converted 57%, 12-21. They'd all fourth down, and
they'd be kicking into the wind too here, Mark. And that's a factor.
Play clock winds down. Nope, they get the timeout first. So the Cardinals use their first timeout. Just about 4 minutes gone.
The Allstate Saturday Kickoff is presented by Allstate, official protector of college football fans, and in part by Sam Adams. Fill your glass.
Lamar Jackson, the first Louisville Cardinal to win a Heisman Trophy, but he became the 8th underclassman quarterback to win the Heisman since Archie Griffin won back-to-back Heismans in the 70s. So there have been 7 previous underclassman quarterbacks that have had a chance to repeat as Heisman winners. Ray, none have. Right now, he's not the front runner. He's having a great year. It's really tough to win back-to-back.
It is, and I think in large part it has to do with the Cardinal record at 6-4 on the season, so they're not getting a lot of attention in that regard. And the other part of it is I think people want to see someone else get it, and Baker Mayfield is certainly deserving at this point.
Well, we'll look at some of the 7 previous underclassmen quarterbacks that have not repeated. We go throughout the telecast today. 4th and 5 after the timeout. He's going to try to take it himself and somehow pitched it. Did not get enough for the first down. He pitched to Jalen Smith. They will come up short and turn it over on downs. How do you get rid of that?
I don't know. He's just amazing. I mean, he's got that bag around his waist. He pulls stuff out of that bag that I have never seen before.
Well, you look at the numbers compared to last year, and he's right on pace or better in most of those categories, except one at the bottom, and that's a team record.
Yeah, and I think that as much as anything is why he just showed up as number 5 in the Heismanology watch. But I think it just depends on what they want to do. But I think he's playing better than last year. Now, how's the field playing? There's some guys out there that are playing pretty well, too.
Empty backfield. Syracuse takes over at their own 29-yard line. Mahoney turned it over on an interception on their first possession, and both sides moved. Should be on Syracuse, or let's see.
I don't know. I thought the Cardinal defender initiated the thing.
Snap infraction against the center. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, now you know why both moved.
Yeah. The ball moved.
Yeah. On the center, Aaron Service.
He moved him into that center position in the spring, and they've been really happy with the way Service has picked the job up as a redshirt freshman.
And today is 11th consecutive start. So already the Orange behind the chains at 1st and 15.
And they had a 15-yarder in their initial drive, so they're hurting themselves right now.
There's a handoff. Nice run for Neal. Takes it up near the first down marker. Brought down by Chucky Williams, and a 13-yard run from O'Neal.
Nice blocking up front by the left side of the line. Sam Heckel and Cody Conway cleared a nice space for Neal to get through.
Some tempo for Syracuse, and the pass out to the edge. That is a forward pass dropped by Devin C. Butler and incomplete.
And the gloves are coming off. You see Butler's putting them gloves in the back pocket there. And we talked to Dino Babers, and that's a pet peeve of his. He says when it gets wet, the gloves got to come off because you're better with your hands.
3rd and short. The keeper with the spot will be close and should have enough. Let's see where the spot is, though.
Mahoney, 6'2", 217 pounds, has a little bit of push, and he got in behind his center Service, and looks like they got it.
They indeed do keep the drive going, and a first down from their 40. Mahoney fires and is complete after it deflected off the Louisville defender. Riley able to catch it after it went off the hands of Cannon.
And Cannon's going to beat himself up because this should be a pick. It's right there, right in his hands. And not only does he not catch it, he tips it up to Riley.
23-yard gain, first down inside the 40, but now Mahoney be brought down for a loss of a couple by Jonathan Grenard. The pace, the quickness.
See up in this box, and Peter Sherman says he changed his signals this week because of the pace. And they've worked on it diligently throughout the week. And he said, I'm going to look like a crazy man over there giving all these signals on the sidelines.
Neal gets the handoff. Going to bounce it off left side and squeezes through inside the 35. So again, watch that quick signaling from Sermon.
He's got to go fast, and all the eyes have to be over there seeing him because they're about ready to snap the ball again.
And they do. And once again, handoff to Neal, trying to cut it outside. But a nice play by Stacy Thomas, the linebacker, to bring him down.
And Thomas had missed 3 games, returned last week, and really shored things up. They had an outstanding defensive performance against Virginia, only allowing 277 yards.
Thomas.
I was going to say Stacy had a lot to do with that.
Back from that knee injury. Going to attempt the field goal. This will be a 51-yarder off the left hash. Cole Murphy
does have the wind behind him.
He did hit a career-high 53-yarder against Miami. This has the distance, and it is up and good. Probably got some help from the wind, but that was going to be plenty from 55 or even 60.
Yeah, he might have tacked another extra 10 yards on that thing. He banged it. Syracuse gets on the board.
Coming up tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Number 11 USC host UCLA at the Coliseum. Josh Rosen versus Sam Darnold. The victory bell once again on the line. Trojans have won the last 2 meetings, and they look to keep their slim college football playoff hopes alive. It also streams live on the ESPN app. Who do you like in that matchup?
Well, I like the Trojans, but I like Rosen in the quarterback matchup.
Gotcha. Yeah, Darnold has not had the season and many had hopes.
Yeah, he's improved a little bit as it's gone on. I think there's an element of that, but a lot of interceptions early on. I think he put too much on himself and was trying to do too much, and he's since kind of choked that down a little bit.
Syracuse on the board. Samuel and Josh Johnson back to receive the kick from Cole Murphy. Again, the wind is still at the back of Syracuse going towards the north end zone. That will change at some point in this football game, and that's easily through the back line of the end zone for the touchback and coming out to the 25. Those are the flags atop the stands in the south end zone, so the wind coming out of the south right now. How about Lamar Jackson, who has now passed Deshaun Watson ACC career total yards? It's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah, and there's no question if he does come back for his senior year, he's going to own a lot of records. Not only school records, but NCAA records.
Wouldn't hold your breath, though, on that coming back part. We'll see, though. We'll see. Dumps it off to the tight end, Stanberry. Races it ahead up near the 35 and gain of 10. First down. Evan Foster pushed him out.
Bobby Petrino told us he loves to get the tight ends involved in the action, and a lot of times he'll go with two tight ends in the game at one time, and he likes to have those guys work in tandem. They'll both block at the same area, and then they'll also get themselves in the same area for pass plays.
Really creative what he does with those tight ends, and fun to watch him. There's a handoff. Williams, Malik Williams. Malik had the 46-yard touchdown run for the Louisville score earlier this quarter, a 2-yard gain there.
They've stayed in that unbalanced package quite a bit so far here early on, where they have trips receivers and then they overload a side with a pair of tight ends. They both run and passed out of that. Here it looks like they're going to spread it out a little more.
Jackson to throw on second down, pulls it back down. A flag comes out, and Lamar running it himself up near midfield, but we'll see about the flag back near the line of scrimmage.
More often than not, that's holding on the offense.
Holding. Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
I think it's this fella right here. It's 79 actually, and that's who they got it on, and that's Kenny Thomas. The official said 70. It's 79 on that.
It's a little tough to read those numbers occasionally.
Yeah, they're crooked.
Kenny Thomas out of Prattville High School. That's a really good high school program there in Montgomery, Alabama area. Rain has lightened up, but don't expect that to stay status quo for very long. Headed off to Williams, and Malik runs it ahead about the 34-yard line.
Yeah, with a penalty, it got the Cardinals behind the chains, so they try to get back to the original line of scrimmage and get close with that draw play, and now it's 3rd and 11, and this is where I'd like to see Lamar Jackson get on the edge, have a run-pass option.
For me, Ray, big play for the Syracuse defense, because if they can get the ball back, they've kind of really survived that first haymaker that Louisville threw early.
Yeah, much better than they did last year.
But a pass, Fitzpatrick right near the marker.
He's got it.
It's Devin M. Butler, who's the graduate transfer from Notre Dame for Syracuse, making the tackle, but it was just enough for the first down for the Cardinals and Des Fitzpatrick's first catch.
And I think that's an area right there where Lamar Jackson has gotten better. He looked that thing off and then drilled it right down the middle, knowing exactly how far he had to go to move the chains. You might want to look at the spot.
Yeah, I think he got a
generous one.
Generous one, correct. But the line to gain was right at the 45, and they've put it about a yard past or close to
Syracuse is challenging the ruling of the field of a first down. That play will be under further review.
Dino Babers actually reached in and challenged this. Was not stopped upstairs. There's that zip pass between two defenders, and he is. I think that's a good spot. I mean,
agree.
He was at the 46.
It was pushed back with the forward progress.
Yeah, freeze it right there. You can see the line to gain is right here, and he was clearly beyond that when he caught the football.
As long as he wasn't juggling in any way and had that cleanly the whole time, that call should be confirmed. Tom Zamorski, our replay official, getting another play to look at here, and we're just barely midway into the first quarter.
Yeah, and Dino Babers, you were mentioning how big that would a stop that would have been for the Orange on that 3rd and long. And I think that's why he went with the challenge to try and, steal that stop if he could possibly.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The line to gain was made. First down. Syracuse is charged with their first timeout and the loss of their challenge for the remainder of the game.
Well, they lose their challenge for the game, but
yeah, that ball is in his possession. The yard to gain is that 45. Clearly, it's a confirmed call. I don't know if Dino got some bad advice from somebody upstairs watching, saying, "Hey, coach, they didn't get it." I'm sure that's the case. I doubt he would have challenged that on his own view from where he was.
So it cost him a timeout and their challenge for the game.
The right tackle moved a little bit for Syracuse. Or for Louisville, excuse me.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
But I know what you were getting at, Ray, because Syracuse was showing some pressure there.
Yeah, and a linebacker, and they like to blitz from off. And he started a step early, and McNeil, the right guard, got a little hiccup.
Make it a 1st and 15. Jackson's pass a little low and incomplete for Seth Dawkins at midfield.
That one looked almost like it slipped out of his hand. I can't say for sure, but dealing with the wet football is something that both of these teams anticipated, checking the forecast, and they worked on various things. But you can do all that you want. When you're out there in the game, it's a different deal.
Jackson keeps on the zone read, and to this point, with the exception maybe that first drive, they're doing a pretty good job of containing Jackson on the zone read.
They are, and that's been the point of emphasis. And the Orange are playing more zone, and the reason you do that is that gives you 11 eyes on the quarterback. Whereas if you're in man-to-man now, you got at least 5 guys that are watching somebody other than the quarterback.
So on 3rd down and 13, the pass is caught for the first down by Dawkins inside the 40, and he threw a bullet to move the chains close to a 20-yard gain.
He really did, and it was a little bit behind Dawkins, but the reason is the defenders were there, so he had to get it outside of that linebacker that was dropped underneath. That's a perfect throw, and Dawkins has been hot lately. 10 catches in the last 2 games and 1 touchdown and 120 yards.
And a nice adjustment on that one. His 13th consecutive game with a catch now for Dawkins. Reggie Bonifant is stopped by Paris Bennett. Pick up of close to 3.
And Bonifant's done a nice job holding down the fort at the running back position, as both the Williams guys have struggled with injuries throughout. And Coach Petrino says he never makes a mistake. He does all kinds of things. He's also their punt returner who had a great week last week.
Local kid out of Trinity High School who was a quarterback back in the day. Jackson, but Smith wasn't expecting it.
Well, that's the old deal where they weren't on the same page. I mean, I couldn't tell you who to blame. My idea would be a Smith. He never looked back for the ball in a pressure situation. So a miscue on the communication between the two. Almost hit him in the back. That'd have got him to turn around.
Cardinals 2 of 3 on 3rd down so far.
Empty formation, a lot of quarterback run out of these.
Pulls it back down and then was hit as he threw that, and incomplete, going in the direction of Dawkins. Be 4th down again, but it's also once again in that position of the field where they commonly will go for it.
Yeah, and I think they will go for it. There's no sense punting in this kind of field position. Your defense has been playing well. I think they go for it, especially when you have a dynamic guy like Lamar Jackson at the helm.
from the 33 of Syracuse. They go for it. They turned it over on 4th down earlier in the quarter. Plenty of time. Jackson fires and off the hands of Smith that time. Would have been plenty for the first down, but they'll turn it over on downs for a second time today.
And Smith may want to take his gloves off. In fact, I think he just did.
Third straight incompletion for Jackson. It's a 7-3 lead for the Cardinals. The last two quarterbacks to return as Heisman winner prior to Lamar Jackson includes Jameis Winston back in 2014. He came back. Marcus Mariota won it the following year. And then Johnny Manziel in 2013, when he came back, it was Winston that won it in 2014. As you see the numbers for those two, you see Lamar Jackson on the bench, and you see that rain coming down. It's gotten harder.
Yeah, it's getting nasty out there. The wind's picked up a little bit too.
Louisville scored quickly in this game. Just 2 plays needed for their first touchdown. Syracuse has kept them off the board since. Syracuse has picked up a Murphy 51-yard field goal. The Orange take over. So the Cardinals just turned it over on downs. Number 33 of Syracuse.
They're going to get a fresh ball because the rain picked up. Oh, we were waiting. Only trying to keep his hands dry, clutching the cloth at his waist.
Mahoney looking to take a deep shot down the sideline, but it's out of reach of Ishmael. I mentioned the Heisman returners as the Heisman Trophy winner, and those were the winners of those particular seasons. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota of Oregon prevented Winston and Manziel from repeating.
And as time keeps going on, I think you get a greater appreciation for Archie Griffin. The only one that ever won it back-to-back. Pretty amazing. And he deserved it.
Neal.
Push.
He's deceiving. Mo Neal is listed at 5'11", 182 pounds, but is it weird to say he runs bigger than that?
Oh, it's not weird at all. In fact, it's accurate. He runs a lot bigger than that. His deal is between the tackles, and you saw him push a pile. That's a lot of leg drive from a little guy.
Syracuse 1 of 2 on 3rd down today.
Slowing it down, checking to see. They get a cover 2 look with both corners pressed.
Mahoney looking to the near side. Now he's going after Butler. Incomplete. He was double covered by D. Smith and Tremaine Washington.
I thought Butler jumped just a little too soon because that ball was really well thrown. He came up maybe a step too soon. If he'd have waited, he got both hands on it, but there was 2 men covering him, D. Smith and Tremaine Washington all over him.
Sterling Hoffrichter to punt for Syracuse. Reggie Bonifant back at the Cardinals 25. Probably gets a little help from that wind, and the fair catch taken inside the 15 by Bonifant. Oh, the ESPN app, a fan's best friend. They stream every ESPN and ABC college football game live. Whether you're at home or on the go, you'll get access to scores, news, and highlights all season long. If you haven't already, download the ESPN app. Start streaming now. After the 49-yard punt, Louisville begins with their worst starting field position of the afternoon as that rain continues to come down.
And it's coming in sheets, and it's rolling right into their faces. This is where you have to be able to run the football a little bit.
And it's coming down.
Lovely day here in Louisville.
So under center goes Lamar Jackson, which is a bit of a new twist we've seen in recent games, Ray. Here's the pitch. Williams lowers the shoulder, gets up to the 20, picks up about 5.
It's another step forward in Bobby Petrino's offense, the under center part of the deal, and they've run more and more of that the last several weeks. And it gives them other abilities, and the other thing it does, and it really helps them in terms of audibling as Jackson has a much better view. He identifies the fronts much quicker and is able to make the change in the play before the snap.
Going to give it up to Williams, trying to stretch it out, but he is brought down for no gain. Rodney Williams picking up the tackle for the Cuse.
Syracuse defense has been playing pretty good against the run. Other than that initial drive, they've shut it down so far.
Louisville 2 of 4 on third down, and this third down comes from their own 20. Jackson across the middle. Fitzpatrick will have the first down.
The Orange brought the blitz. I mean, they housed it, and Jackson saw it, knew where he had to go, where his hot release was, zipped it down the middle to complete, to move the chains to Fitzpatrick. And be careful blitzing Lamar Jackson. In large part, not only the throwing part of the deal, but if you miss him with one guy and he takes off, there's nobody left. He'll go to the house on you.
He keeps racing to the edge and will run out of bounds at about the 35.
There were 5 Syracuse Orange players that chased him out of bounds. I think they get it that the quarterback's going to run and you better stop it. And they were hurt by John Wolford from Wake Forest last week, who had 136 yards on 19 carries and 3 touchdowns. So they've been burned with the quarterback run recently.
Wake Forest been a problem for both these teams this year. Each team lost to the Deacons.
Yeah, they rang up 42 on Louisville and 63 on the Orange.
Kept again by Jackson, but he is wrapped up by the ankles by Austin Valdez.
The running back who took the fake started looking over his shoulder to see if Jackson was right behind him. He wants to watch the kid play too.
So 3rd and short, 3rd and 1. We're into the final minute here of the first quarter. Jalen Smith comes out. Got the tight ends in there, Averett and Stanberry.
That tandem up there.
Actually 3 tight ends in the game here. Kept by Lamar Jackson. Needed one, got a little more than one, probably close to 2 first down Louisville.
Yeah, and he knew that's really all he needed. But he will read all these options, these plays, and then the goal they have is for him to be 100%. Now he can make himself right by making people miss, which he does quite often.
Jackson with time, throws across the middle and finds a man wide open for a first down. Charles Stanberry, 16-yard gain. And that should be the final play of the quarter.
Great job of Jackson checking down. I think that was his 3rd option. Looked all over and then found it and drilled it.
It's gotten wet here in Louisville, but a touchdown run by Malik Williams and a Murphy field goal, all the scoring. It's 7-3 Cardinals after 1. You got to love the Hardy fans who come prepared, enjoy a beverage,
drinking the watered down stuff.
Check the ESPN app every now and then. And this is during the quarter break. They wrapped up Lamar Jackson and like the game, some kind of hand wrap, maybe a little heat.
Changed the bag on his waist to make it warm or dry, I should say.
So into the second quarter. Jackson rolling out, fires, hit right as the pass came into the tight end Stanberry by Rodney Williams.
That's the 4th, what I'm going to call a weather ball today, where a ball was dropped, and it's most likely due to the weather. But it hasn't seemed to affect the quarterbacks. They've still been throwing the ball in there pretty good. No gloves for either of them.
200 total yards so far for Louisville. And keep again. Run to the outside, and Lamar Jackson breaks a tackle. He's headed to the end zone. Touchdown Cardinals. Devin M. Butler, the cornerback, was the last that had a chance to prevent him from making it to the end zone. He could not. And the Cardinals have their second touchdown of the game. And for Lamar Jackson, his 16th rushing touchdown of the year.
And the thing about it is these Syracuse defenders, they think they're in good shape. Paris Bennett, number 30, he thinks he's in good shape. The safety, Evan Foster, coming down, he thinks he's in good shape. It's hard to estimate the speed that Jackson has when he gets to that edge.
And the extra point makes it 14-3 Louisville. Let's check in with the studio.
All right, guys, time for an AT&T Field Pass. Ohio State, Illinois, and the Buckeyes are just feasting right now. Mike Weber breaks it to the outside. He goes 43 yards for the score. 28-0 right now. Buckeyes on top of Illinois over on ABC.
Chris Cotter, thank you. 14-3 Cardinals after the touchdown run of 43 yards from Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and this is just Jackson's ability to hit the gas pedal. He comes out of there so quick. I'm telling you, in the mind of Evan Foster, the safety number 14, he had perfect leverage. He was going to make that play. Next thing you know, he's chasing number 8.
So it sounds like, Ray, with Lamar Jackson, perfect doesn't necessarily mean good.
No, I mean, you got to readjust and recalibrate things and kind of catch up to his speed.
Riley going to take it from the 3. Up to about the 22-yard line. Ronald Walker with the tackle on special teams. It was his 16th rushing touchdown of the season, 48th in his career. Over that span, tops in the ACC.
Something else. I mean, it's fun to sit here and get to watch him play.
Yeah, it really is. It's
exciting. I mean, you never know.
Every play. You don't take your eyes away, do you?
He can go.
Chris Elmore has come in as a halfback. Sent Phillips in motion, and he's going to run with it. First carry for Chris Elmore. Now, they don't have Dante Strickland. Elmore has been primarily just a blocker out there, but they think, hey, under these conditions, let's give him a carry.
Yeah, generally he'll play the fullback when they go into the eye, and he's a move tight end type guy. But in this type of weather, you need a big mutter to get things done, and they think they got one there.
And he's a true freshman, 6 feet tall, 280 pounds. Let's see who jumped.
Pierce did, but he's pointing.
Ball start. Offense number 6. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And to no avail. I mean, first thing you do when you make a mistake, point to someone else. That's an old time-honored tactic.
Third penalty against Syracuse for 25 yards, and it's been penalties at the beginning of drives so far that have really hurt Dino Babers' team.
Right. They can't get ahead of the chains, and then they end up on third down having to throw the ball deep, which they're 1 of 4 on deep balls right now with 1 interception.
Give it back to Elmore. And he's game tackled down. Dorian Etheridge, though, who's a true freshman, number 17, was the leader of that tackling game.
Yeah, he came in and put a stamp on it right there.
Etheridge, a true freshman out of Charleston, West Virginia.
They got some good young ball players on this Louisville squad.
3rd and 9. Mahoney's pass. It's incomplete, and I'm trying to figure out who was the closest one to coming up with that.
Stacey Thomas, the linebacker for Louisville, was the closest one to it, and he almost, as you said, picked that thing off. He's ruining the fact that he didn't, because I think it went through his hands.
Syracuse has the 1 field goal so far, but Ray, this is still really Syracuse is a team that's trying to recover from the second half of last week's loss in the Carrier Dome to Wake Forest. Yeah, without a doubt, their worst half of the season.
It was an epic meltdown is what it was. Both sides of the ball. They got outscored 40-5 in that second half, and they had a 38-23 lead going into the second half.
Off Richter kicking into the wind, but gets a nice Syracuse roll. It's going to be down at the 36. Just into this second quarter. Louisville ball and Lamar Jackson when we come back. Let's take a look back with our Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry drive recap. First possession of the game for the Cardinals, Ray.
And it looked just like about last year's looked, and getting out of the gates, started out, Lamar Jackson takes it himself, 29 yards on the run, breaking 3 tackles, throwing out a stiff arm. The very next play, they get it to Malik Williams. He goes to the house, 46 yards, and it looked just like the route that was on last year when Louisville went up 28-7 at the end of the first quarter. Now it's just 14-3 here early in the second.
Game, the Cardinals won 62-28. That was the most points they'd given up in the Carrier Dome until last week when Wake Forest scored 64. It's the pitch to Reggie Bonifant. Reggie powers his way for just a couple of yards to the 38. Brandon Berry with the tackle.
The significance of that play, Mark, is it's a pitch, a toss. It's a play where Lamar Jackson has the play off, basically. Doesn't have to make a read, doesn't have to do anything extra. That's the 6th play out of the 27 that they've run so far today that he's basically been able to take that off.
And we talked about that with head coach Bobby Petrino yesterday. In fact, Coach Petrino brought that up. Here's Jackson now being pressured, rolling out, and will fire, complete the pass across the 40 to Stanberry, and does get some positive yardage, picks up 5. But Coach Petrino said he remembers something that Peyton Manning said when he was playing, saying, hey, there are sometimes I just want to hand the ball off and have a mental play off. And he says, Coach Petrino wants to apply that to Lamar Jackson.
Right, and that comes on the heels of trying to get other guys to be productive within this offense without the help of Lamar Jackson.
And Coach Petrino thinks that will help Jackson to be mentally fresher later in games. Bobby Petrino with his play calling and Lamar Jackson's ability, it's been a pretty fun combination to watch.
It is fun to watch.
Now the officials,
they're losing the officials' mic due to the weather. Not sure why they stopped play here.
let's hope that's not lightning. Obviously, if the NCAA rule, if there's lightning within 8 miles, they stop the game. But usually, if that's the case, the players would leave the field right away. But I think the wetness has taken Riley Johnson, our referee's mic, away from him.
Definitely looks like he's listening to somebody in the earpiece he has.
So look at our current radar.
And this
weather moving this way. More weather.
See the purple and then this line right here coming at us. Always wanted to be a meteorologist.
And I believe the spots you see are lightning strikes.
Is that right?
Yeah. But hey, the cheerleaders are kind of like the Postal Service, right? Whether it's
they will
rain,
deliver.
sleet, snow.
Stay out there until the end.
There was a question about the headsets on Syracuse. They went out, but at this time, both headsets on each team are working properly. Third down.
And we got Riley Johnson's mic to work as well. So
everything's coming together.
Hey, all right.
But the rule is if one team's headsets are not working, then the other team has to turn them off, just to kind of keep things fair. Don't let anyone have an advantage on those things.
So obviously Syracuse had mentioned that, and that's what stopped play. But now we're back playing, and Lamar Jackson.
Got him.
He has him indeed. That is the fullback, Tobias Little. His first catch of the season.
And it came out of that long break with a sneaky play, a shoot out of the backfield by Little. And Jackson's going to pay for it. He gets whacked right there big time by McKinley Williams, but hung in and made a nice throw. Actually, had he gotten a little more under it, I think the fullback Little could have ran a lot more.
24-yard gain, first down, the 33 of Syracuse. Kept by Lamar Jackson. He's looking to the near side, looking for Smith. Throw goes out of bounds.
He took another shot. Did Jackson. A little slow getting up after that one. It's the third time he's been hit.
Back-to-back plays.
Going back to throw. He's been hit when he ran the football, but you don't want to take a full menu of those, as Evan Foster put it on him pretty good.
Went up on 300 total yards for Louisville in this game. Jackson will pitch it to Bonifant. Down the sideline, inside the 10, 5, near the pylon, touchdown. 33 yards for Reggie Bonifant.
I don't believe he stepped out of bounds. I do believe he got an incredible block from Des Fitzpatrick, the wide receiver. Here's Bonifant coming along the sideline. You see the block right there in front. And that one is as clean as a whistle. And they ran that speed option, and so many eyes are on Lamar Jackson. There was nobody home for the pitch.
Left-footed kicker Blanton Creaky for the point after. (21-3). Louisville got some fans yelling, Reggie, Reggie. They love the hometown kid, Bonifant.
And well, they should after an explosive play like that. Puts the Cards up 21-3.
Tide. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide.
A lot of work on the facilities here at Papa John's Cardinals Stadium. North end zone, they're putting in some offices, some more stands. That's what's going to look like when it's finished. And that's what it looks like at this very second.
Yeah, it's supposed to add 10,000 seats and more room to their football building. It'll be quite the setup once they're finished. And actually, they moved up the completion date. Originally, it was supposed to be ready at 2019. They're going to have it ready next year.
Construction finishing ahead of schedule. That actually happened.
Yeah, imagine that.
Coming up Tuesday on ESPN, we have the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings at 7 Eastern. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Kirby Hocutt. And that's also streaming live on the ESPN app. Well, if you're the Syracuse offense here, Ray, important time. This is an offense led by Mahoney that in the first half of last week's game at home against Wake Forest scored 5 touchdowns. They scored a total of 5 points in the second half and getting beat. 2 of those points were on a blocked extra point that they returned the other way. So they didn't find the end zone at all in the second half.
Mahoney's going to have to make some throws before this thing is over.
Pretty good run on first down from O'Neal. Across the 30 for a gain of 6. Tackle for Stacey Thomas.
Mahoney right now, Mark, 4 of 9, 43 yards and the 1 interception. They're going to need better play than that from him if they're going to have a chance in this ballgame.
A little extra John going on after that play.
Looks like we're getting a delay here. Somebody came out on the field right there.
Due to inclement weather in the area, the game is being suspended.
So evidently we've had a lightning strike within 8 miles of the stadium. And that's going to stop play with 10:39 to play in the first half.
The fans don't like it, that's for sure.
Teams head to their respective locker rooms, and the fans will be instructed to take some cover as well. So what we're going to do in the meantime, we'll send it to goal line with Matt Schick. We are suspended here in Louisville with the Cardinals leading Syracuse 21-3. Welcome back to Louisville, Kentucky. The rain has stopped. Skies are actually starting to clear, and Lamar Jackson's staying loose and ready to get going again. Yeah, that's a live shot of the sky. I didn't know if you would see that, but looks like we're going to get resumed after about a 47-minute delay. And let's take a look at the game track brought to you by Taco Bell. It did not take long, Ray Bentley, for Louisville to get on the scoreboard. Just 2 plays into this game.
Yeah, they came out swinging just like they did last year. And it started out with a big 29-yard Jackson run, which sets up this Malik Williams run. 47 to the house, 7-0 Louisville. right after that first drive. And they'll tack on to that as Lamar gets loose, runs the edge, a 43-yard touchdown there. And he's been pretty dominant. And then one more time to the house, this one on a pitch to Bonifant, 33 yards. And that gives you 21 points for Louisville. And Syracuse has they stuck a field goal in there.
Syracuse is going to get the ball when we resume here momentarily. But right now, after about a 45-minute delay, how does each team rebound from that?
Well, I think if you're Louisville, you want to keep the momentum going. You know, hey, we started great. Let's keep that pouring on them. I don't think it gets you too far removed that short of a delay. But now for Syracuse, here's a chance to reinvent yourself. Hey, we're starting over from zero. We're going to get out there and take care of business. And so I would love to see it become a more spirited contest.
Yeah, you wonder what Dino Babers and what was going on in that Syracuse locker room and what kind of became an early halftime, I would assume, Ray.
Yeah, and the other part of it is it gives each coaching staff a chance to do halftime adjustments before halftime. So we'll see what they came up with as we get this ball rolling again.
Now we still have 10:39 to play in the first half. 21-3, Louisville leading Syracuse. And it's a 2nd down and 4 from the 31 of the Orange. So ready to resume from Louisville, and off we go once again. It's a handoff to Moneal straight ahead and lowers his shoulder for a first down up across the 40 near the 43. An 11-yard run right out of the chute from Moneal.
Yeah, and they did a little jet action to kind of screen the play and also give that second level some eye candy and popped it through the middle. Nice little design.
Mahoney coming to the near side and cannot connect with Ishmael, who was covered well, and James Hearns was putting some heat on Mahoney.
And Mahoney took a shot there. He had a wheel route up the sideline that he was looking at, but it didn't matter because Hearns was untouched. You got to block Hearns. He's got 6 sacks on the year, 4 in the last 4 games.
Yeah, he had 3 sacks last week against Virginia and 3 forced fumbles in that game. A little juggle by Ishmael. Incomplete, they're going to call that. It was scooped up by D. Smith, but ruled incomplete on the field.
And fortunate as Ishmael, he makes the catch, but he never does. I mean, he couldn't quite reel it in, and he's got the gloves on again. It's drier out there, and so we'll see how slippery the ball becomes. I know the turf is wet, but the rain has ceased.
I think they're going to take a look at that, but from what we just saw,
yeah,
that's definitely an incomplete pass.
Right.
They should confirm this pretty quickly.
He never had contact or control of the football, so this is not going to be a fumble. It's just going to be an incomplete. And Syracuse will be looking at 3rd and 10 because he never brought it in, never had it. He's even still losing it as he goes down. I can't imagine that they'll overturn this.
Now, he may have had it for a fraction of a second, Ray, but he doesn't make a football
After
move
review, the ruling on the field
after
is
that.
confirmed.
So
Incomplete
because
pass.
of that, you got to confirm the call on the field.
Yeah.
Well, that combination of Phillips and Ishmael
is pretty good.
They're trying to wake up a bit in this game. And great careers as you look at Ishmael. He is knocking on the door today of setting the career receiving yards record at Syracuse, which is held by the great Marvin Harrison.
And Ishmael is the right side receiver. They play right and left because they go so fast with the tempo. They don't want it to take so long for guys to switch sides.
Mahoney in the direction of Ishmael, who may have gone out of bounds. Anyway, you saw the hat come out from the side judge. Incomplete nonetheless. Jair Alexander had good coverage on him, and it's 4th down.
Ishmael's hopped up talking to folks. I don't know what he's talking about. They had a shot there. They had a chance, and that was a pretty good throw from Mahoney.
So Mahoney now 4 of 12 for 43 yards passing as Hofrichter on to punt. Bonifant back near his own 20. Fair catch called for and taken at the 12 by Reggie Bonifant. So Lamar Jackson and Louisville offense will have their first chance after the delay when we come back. Well, I'm excited to watch that matchup between Rosen and Darnold tonight, but I got to be honest with you, Ray, right now I'm more enthused to watch the dynamic Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you and me both. And those numbers he's got are pretty good already. And we're just rolling here just under 10 minutes here left in the second quarter.
At about a 47-minute weather delay due to lightning, and Jackson uses a stiff arm, then gets pushed hard late. No flag. That's Zaire Franklin who pushed him down, and he took a hard tumble.
And I mean, you're going to try and get as many hits on him as you can, and the contact was initiated in the field of play, so there's nothing to see there. We'll just move along.
Yeah, it was clean. He ran into that heater you see on the sideline. The temperature
can be dangerous.
Starting to drop. The wind direction is changing. There's a run straight up the middle. Slayton able to push him backwards. The flags were basically going straight north earlier. Now they're kind of going towards the east, and I think by the end of this game they're going to be pointing south, and it's going to be a lot colder.
Yeah, they were at that camera. They were running right straight at us the whole first part of the game, and then after the storm front came through, now it's switched, and they anticipate it switching even more as that cold weather creeps in.
Cardinal 5 of 7 on third down. They have a third and short. Let's see if it's kept by Jackson. Nope, he will hand off, and I think that's going to be enough for Day Williams.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
depends on the mark, but it looks to me like they're short. That's a good job by that Q's defense of not letting it be pushed forward on him, and it is fourth down.
Yeah, that was Day Williams' first carry of the game.
He's a remarkable story. He tore his ACL back in April. It's only been 7 months, and he's back now. This is his third game. I've had one of those. I don't know that I'm still recovered. I think it's been 27 years.
It's Mason King back to punt. He's going to be punting kind of into a crosswind. It's a line drive, and under the circumstances, a pretty good punt that's going to take an even better roll for the Cardinals and bounce out of bounds inside the 25. Well, Syracuse this season, remember, it wasn't all that long ago. They were hosting Clemson.
And whooping Clemson.
Yeah, they were number 2 at the time. That was back on Friday, October 13th. And then a competitive game against Miami, but fell there. Had a chance to tie Florida State with a field goal at the end, but missed it and lost by 3. And then the second half meltdown last week, the loss to Wake Forest.
Yeah, you know, you win a big game and you expect maybe a little bit of a hangover, but this is going on a month right now for the Orange.
So they haven't won since the big win over Clemson. They lost 3 in a row. Haven't won on the road since winning at Boston College October 22nd of last season. 5-yard run from O'Neal on first down. But you really have to respect the job that Dino Babers has been doing now in his second season.
I couldn't agree more. I think he's totally changed the culture at Syracuse, and their expectations are rising.
Fake the jet sweep to Phillips. Handoff once again to Neal. It's going to be third down. You know, that combination of Phillips and Ishmael to this point have 1 catch, and that's by Phillips for 7 yards. At some point, you would imagine those two are going to have to step up, and this could be one of those spots.
Well, it's on number 16, Mahoney, to get the ball to him.
That is the other part of the equation, isn't it?
It is unfortunately, well, depending on how you look at it, it's the most vital part.
You got Pierce tying it down the slot up top. 3 receivers up in that direction. Looking quickly, pass complete, and he does get it to Phillips for his second catch of the game. 5 yards and a first down.
Yeah, nice play call. They spread him out with the empty set. Quick pass inside. Phillips gets in front of the defender. Easy pitch and catch.
The 4th first down of the game for Syracuse, and on first down, a run for Neal. Not much there as he's wrapped up Dorian Etheridge.
Yeah, one thing I noted when watching Syracuse offense prepping for this game, they like to repeat plays. He just repeated that same play 3 times. 3 out of the last 4, they've run that fake jet and run the inside zone.
Taking a shot, it has him this time, but off the hands of Phillips. Wasn't a perfect pass, Ray, but it was catchable right out of the hands of Phillips.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it was close. I mean, you have to catch this ball, and Irvin Phillips will be the first to tell you. I mean, that's That's as easy as it gets for receivers. That's how you want it, right out there where you can use your hands, and the gloves failed them. Maybe they'll be coming off. We'll see.
Third time a Syracuse receiver has dropped a very catchable ball from Mahoney today.
Well, they got to help him out more than that.
Mahoney on 3rd and 9 eludes the pressure, comes to the near side and just fires it up. This is going to be picked off. Chucky Williams gets the easy interception, his 2nd pick of the season.
I can't believe that throw from Mahoney. That was almost a give-up type throw. There were 5 red jerseys around and just 1 white jersey. And what he needed to do was throw that thing out of bounds and live to fight another down, because he does have serious pressure. You got the initial Grenard gets after him. Now he's got time there. Throw the ball away. This is a hope and a prayer, and those don't work.
Mahoney took a pretty good lick from Gigi Robinson after putting that one up for grabs.
I don't know, but we might see Rex Culpepper after that display, the backup quarterback.
Yeah, 2nd time Mahoney's been picked today.
Both on deep shots. He's 1 out of 7 on his deep passes, and 2 of them have been intercepted, and that last one was egregious.
Play clock down to 1. They get it off just in time, or did they?
No,
they got a timeout.
The wingman left early. It should be a false start.
Averett.
False start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Kamari Averett, he's done a lot better job. I mean, this is a freshman that's learning the game and learning how to play. They've got a nice group of tight ends, a nice tight end room that are getting him schooled along with Stansberry and Crump.
Averett made his first career start last week against Virginia. Back in there. On the play fake, taking a deep shot. Caught in stride. Jalen Smith to the house for the Cards.
What a throw.
.72 yards.
Lamar Jackson just dropped a dime in between 2 Syracuse defenders. One was over the top, one underneath. There wasn't but maybe a 2-foot window he could have put that ball in to make it complete to Smith, and that's exactly where he dropped it.
Well, the arm strength was there last year. The accuracy rate seems to be even better this year for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think he never was inaccurate. He's always had great arm talent, but you're right. He has honed in on his throwing game and getting much better.
And Louisville takes advantage of the turnover and turns it into a touchdown.
Yeah, this is just a post route, baby. Turn it loose, and Smith does so, and you see that just threaded perfectly between those guys, and Louisville on the roll.
Jalen Smith touchdown catch of 72 yards has given Louisville a 28-3 lead over Syracuse with just under 6 minutes to go in the first half.
And he used both his hands to catch it that time, which he's got a bad left-handed. So last week he caught one right-handed that was just beautiful. And it doesn't get any prettier than this. Here's Jalen Smith. He's going to run that post route. He runs the man off, a little head shake. He gets behind the next defender, and that's thrown into his bread basket. Now, that one he caught with both hands. I mentioned that left hand not in the greatest shape, so heck, just use one if that's the case, and that's exactly what he did right there. And Coach Petrino kind of chuckled about it, and he said, yeah, we'd like to see him use 2 if he can. But just
made a highlight reel catch, though.
Yeah.
Well, Rex Culpepper has come in at quarterback for Syracuse. And the first play is the jet sweep by Keem Johnson. A late flag after the tackle made it to 25. After that last pick thrown by Mahoney, and
Pierce was in the deep into the Louisville bench trying to start something, looked like. I don't think that was the flag. I think the flag was a holding, but he needs to get out of that enemy territory. He's behind lines there.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I guess now I see why Ravion Pierce was upset. The face mask of Johnson was grabbed.
Right here, yes, that's Pierce, that the one who gets pushed in the face, and then he gets a little face wash. And they're not going to let you play that way.
Actually, that was Pierce who had his face mask grabbed. And Pierce just kept rolling, kept pushing that defender out of bounds. Culpepper had pass attempts in the first game of the season against Central Connecticut, and then 4 for 6 last week against Wake Forest. And his first pass of this game a little wide of Irvin Phillips.
Yeah, the book on Culpepper. He's got a real strong arm. He's a straight A student. They really like the extra work that he's put in. He's been making some plays in practice, opened their eyes, and they want to see what he can do. Now, he's a stout young man, pound for pound, one of the strongest in the Syracuse program, which means he's hard to bring down. We'll see how much they want to run him. He's not particularly fleet of foot, one of those type guys, but he can run a little bit.
Culpepper fires, and there is the first catch of the game for Steve Ishmael.
You said he fired it, and you know, I wrote in my notes, he grunts it out. The way he throws a football, it's like he's putting every ounce of his whole body in there. He just grunts that thing out. Gives you a really exaggerated action, but he can put some smoke on it that way.
Q's get a first down into Louisville territory. Culpepper swings it out to Neal, who's undercut and dropped for a loss by Jair Alexander, a loss of 5.
Let's go back to that previous play and watch him grunt this thing out. I mean, he is going to dig everything he's got, and watch him just, you can almost hear him making the sound effects when he lets that thing go.
You've seen that graphic that his dad, Brad, of course, played in the NFL. His dad, Brad, and mom, Monica, were also on the Survivor.
That's right.
Television show, and then wrapped up James Hearns.
Well, maybe they taught Rex something about surviving, because that's what he's going to have to try to do out here.
I don't know if all 6'3", 245 pounds of James Hearns was on Survivor Island, though. That's a pretty tough guy to try to elude, especially the way he's been going the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's been, now that he's healthier and ready to roll, he's been a terror the last 4 games. Loves that wide 9 technique and get out on the edge and run the hoop on you, and he's got a great counter move with a spin.
Elmore is in. It's going to be run. Culpepper undercut about 3 yards from the first down at the 40. Got a good block from Chris Elmore.
Yeah, he did, and that's only the second quarterback run for the Orange all day. Now they've only had the new quarterback in here for a few plays, and they've run the ball. Maybe that's going to be another part of this offense as they get Culpepper going.
So they're going to go for it on 4th down. Not all that unusual for Syracuse.
They're good at it too.
Gone for it. This is the 34th time they've gone for it on 4th down this year, but had converted 61%, but the incomplete pass to Phillips, and they turned it over on downs. Louisville's done that a couple of times today.
Great coverage from Chucky Williams. That's a hard thing to do. Cover a fast receiver out of the slot on a crossing route. You got to know what you're doing, and Chucky Williams making his 37th consecutive start this afternoon. He's seen a few of those.
Chucky already has his communications degree, the senior out of Hialeah, Florida. He's one of the seniors.
Sitting down like a boss down there.
Senior day is the final home game. 14 seniors honored before the game for Louisville. Malik Williams spinning away. And then up into just short of midfield by Scoop Bradshaw. 9-yard run for Malik Williams, who had the 46-yard touchdown run on the second play of the game.
Yeah, and he broke 2 or 3 tackles on that run, and we've seen some sloppy tackling from the Orange throughout this afternoon. And that's one of the issues, I think, with their defense. They were very sloppy in the second half last week, and that's something new, something that hasn't been a plague for them. Their defense has actually improved.
5 missed tackles today for them, Ray.
That might be on the low side. They missed 3 on that play.
Jackson sacked back inside the 40 by Zaire Franklin and Ryan Guthrie. A loss of 9. 27th sack allowed this year by the Cardinals.
See the old signaling crew over there in the orange vests. Coats, I should say. And they made a nice call on the previous one, getting pressure and putting Louisville behind the chains.
The first time Lamar Jackson's been sacked today in a 3rd and 10. Lamar pressured again, but steps up, throws a strike for a first down. Seth Dawkins to the 35 of Syracuse, and Evan Foster tackled, but a pickup of 23.
Yeah, and there was pressure again on Lamar Jackson, but he hangs in there, and he sees the dig route coming across the middle. The linebackers all went outside, and they left a void right up the middle, and Jackson exploited it.
Second catch of the game for the sophomore Seth Dawkins. Lamar keeps, stretches forward inside the 35 to the 34. 3-yard run.
His first step is so explosive. It's unbelievable how quickly he gets out of that thing and gets going. So far tonight, throwing the football, Jackson's been hit 5 times, knocked down 5 times, and they've given up that 1 sack we just saw. So they are getting a little pressure on him. Here comes a blitz.
Picked up well, and he has his man. Knocked down late, but after the pass had gone beyond Travion Samuel, he actually had a couple of choices there because he had Jalen Smith over towards the pylon.
That's who I thought he was going to. I was getting ready to hear one of your beautiful touchdown calls, bro.
That's where I thought it was going initially.
Because he definitely had Smith open on a corner route, and there are 2 Syracuse players down.
And we'll step aside with the 2 Syracuse players down. Well, a couple of Syracuse players were down. Paris Bennett, one of the linebackers, and defensive end Alton Robinson.
And they need Bennett. He averages almost 9 tackles a game, 5th in the conference in tackling.
Yeah, the leading tackler for Syracuse. He's gone over 250 career tackles today. 4 receivers for Jackson on 3rd and 7. Pressured again. Throws. Tipped, almost picked off as well, but off the hands of Fitzpatrick.
And you can see Lamar Jackson, by his reaction, he knows he just missed it. He needed to lead it out a little bit further. Now they're going to go for it here on 4th down.
They're 0 for 2 today on 4th down. Line to gain is the 27. That's Smith at the bottom of your screen. Lamar going the other direction and perfectly feeds Bonifant into the end zone. Touchdown. 34 yards out of the backfield for Reggie Bonifant. His first touchdown catch of the season.
And this is just a great throw that he makes around the edge, a little wheel route by Bonifant out of the backfield. You know you got linebacker or safety in coverage. You got a mismatch, and you're going to be good.
Bonifant, one of the 14 seniors on senior day here in Louisville, out of nearby Trinity High School. And the point after, 35-3, Louisville with under a minute to play in the first half.
And they actually had a defensive end, Brandon Berry, trying to cover Bonifant on that play, and that's a mismatch. And right away, you can see the back. He's going to come out of here. The defensive end's going to draw the coverage. And you talk about your mismatches. I mean, and not only was it mismatched, it was late. And I gotta think that Lamar Jackson, Bobby Petrino and company, they knew what was going on with this defense, the look they got, and that's the first option for Lamar Jackson, and it was a pretty good one.
2 touchdown passes now today for Jackson.
He's up to 250 yards already here, and we're not quite to halftime yet.
Well, Bonifant had 5 TD catches last year, but gets his first of the season this year in his senior year in his final home game. Wynn blew the ball off the tee.
And Wynn's a different beast than what the rain is. I think you can, and the way the wind is, it's not so severe that you can't throw the football in it right now. And so I should expect that Syracuse should be able to get the passing going a little bit, but they've run the ball more so, and it falls off the tee again. Is Lucy out there or something?
Gonna need a holder now. Yeah, Lucy is. I know Charlie Brown's not out there.
Nope.
A lot of great games coming up tonight. How about Wake Forest? You know, that's a team that's beaten both these schools this year.
Beating them handily.
Dave Clausen's done a nice job there.
Yeah, and the quarterback, John Wolford, is playing very well right now. 5th-year senior. He's got all the tricks in his bag.
Riley decides to bring it out from a yard or 2 deep. It's a block to get to the 20 and maneuvers his way to the 26-yard line. We'll kick off your Week 11 NFL Sunday with the Countdown Crew, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. We'll have all the early breaking stories, the injury updates, and preview each game right up to kickoff. It also streams live on the ESPN app. And then our Week 11 Monday Night Football matchup, a battle of the birds. Matt Ryan leads the 5-4 Falcons against Russell Wilson and the 6-3 Seahawks at the Link. Seahawks, by the way, won 11 straight Monday night games. Let's see if they can keep that going. Less than a minute to play in the half. This is Culpepper for his 2nd series. Out to the edge and run out by Nakeem Johnson, and a first down up near the 40.
And they tried a little fake quick screen action, seeing if they could catch the Cardinal secondary sleeping, but they played it deep. They know the situation, so he had to dump it down to the check down.
2nd catch for Johnson, true freshman who came in only 6 catches on the year. This one for Devin C. Butler. He picks up 7 on that reception, and a timeout used by Syracuse. They'll have 1 left.
Yeah, and even though
timeout Syracuse, that is their 2nd charge to this half.
Even though there's only 27 seconds left, they're trying to get a score here before it goes into halftime. They did a great job of that late in the 2nd quarter last week, putting 7 on the board. So they're going to use every second, especially when you're down 32.
A first half that has featured about a 47-minute weather delay caused by a lightning strike nearby. Well, we have resumed, and Lamar Jackson and Louisville have not missed a beat.
And Syracuse is struggling. I mean, they're on their number 3 quarterback right now. Dungy not able to play today. Came out early before everyone else to warm up to see if he could make it. And they pulled the plug on him, and that left it in the hands of Mahoney, and he's giving way now to Culpepper.
Starting running back Dante Strickland also out today for Syracuse. Culpepper, quarterback draw, but he is stuck by Cannon.
That's a cannon shot right there.
That is, across the bow and into the bow. But he did get 4 yards for a first down, but paid a price. Clock restarts as they set the chains. Low snap. Culpepper had to look out from behind and then throws to the sideline and trying to walk the tightrope. Ishmael, but incomplete. Just 7 seconds left.
Yeah, this is, I would run my Hail Mary at this point. See what kind of arm the young Culpepper has. Syracuse is Louisville is anticipating that, and they've got 3 defenders all back down around the 20-yard line.
That's Peter Sermon, the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals.
Yeah, a little animated. You got your trips down at the bottom. This is where you go with the Big Ben.
Culpepper gave ground and then has it deflected, and that ball was almost intercepted as time ran out. Trayvon Young is the reason that ball took a quick detour towards the ground. Well, Lamar Jackson, 92 rushing yards with a rushing TD 250 passing yards in the first half with a couple of touchdown throws. So that's 18 games with at least a rushing and a passing touchdown for the dynamic Lamar Jackson. The first half that featured a weather delay of 47 minutes, but a lot of Lamar Jackson and the Cardinals, who were in command through one half. They lead 35-3.
It's not a place. This country is to be a thought that
Well, Lamar Jackson has had quite a first half. Louisville leading 35-3 over Syracuse in this ACC Atlantic Division matchup. Take a peek at those first half numbers for Lamar Jackson. 250 through the air with a couple of touchdown passes, and also effective on the ground. He has a touchdown run and nearly 100 rushing yards. It's been vintage Lamar Jackson, Ray.
It really has. It's been a pleasure to watch, and it didn't take long for it to get started either. I mean, he just totally outran the Syracuse defense, who thought they had him leveraged on that one. Not so much. And then he's been really good down the field with the football. He threw a perfect strike there for the touchdown to Smith, and then another one outside to Bonifant. He's just been outstanding. Really nice first half.
Neal from the goal line will bring it out, and he is brought down at the 11. Johnson is. Happy Saturday from Louisville, Kentucky, with Ray Bentley. I'm Mark Neely. At the top of the telecast, Ray, we mentioned the meeting last year between these two, and Lamar Jackson had 610 yards of total offense, accounted for 5 TDs. In the first half today, 342 yards of total offense, 3 TDs, on pace to even better than that.
Yeah, he is on pace to be even better, but I got to tell you, Syracuse has to figure something out. Yes. Now, they went to the third-string quarterback, Culpepper, who was 5 of 9 in his limited action in the first half and ran for 21 yards. So maybe they got something there. We'll find out.
Flag at the snap.
Ball start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now the right tackle, Jamar McGloster. That's happened way too often for Syracuse today.
Third time they've had a first down penalty in the ball game for 25 yards, and that's a way to go ahead and get yourself over a barrel and behind the chains early on.
Jamar McGloster, who's a 5th-year senior, the right tackle, who played at St. Anthony High School in New Jersey. In fact, he played high school basketball there for Bobby Hurley Sr. That school unfortunately closed down not long ago. Here's Mo Neal trying to get back most of those 5 yards that they lost on the penalty.
Yeah, they ran a little OT scheme where they pulled 2 guys from one side and tried to get it to the other. First time I've seen them do that type of blocking scheme. So that's one of their halftime adjustments, a little more gap blocking.
No Dante Strickland today. He's out with an injury, so Neal getting the majority of the carries. And the umpire couldn't bring him down, and eventually D. Smith does in that Louisville secondary.
I tell you, Neal's a good back. He's grinding it out. He's averaging close to 6 yards a carry here this afternoon. If there is a bright spot for the Orange offense, it's been Mr. Neal.
The last run went for 19 yards. Give it right back to him. Brought down from the backside by Drew Bailey, but he picked up another 5 yards.
And I got to tell you, this is not Syracuse, Dino Babers style of football. And they had, when you're on your third-string quarterback, you have to do what you can do. And right now, that's been basically running the football and throwing short passes.
Culpepper's pass a little underthrown, but Cannon able to get a hand on that. Looking for Phillips.
And Dino, he kind of, when we talked to him, he was excited to see Lamar Jackson, what he said, hopefully for the last time. I think there's a lot of people in the ACC that feel that way, wish him the best in a pro career.
Well, Ishmael and Phillips have been targeted 13 times, only 3 receptions. Culpepper bounces his way up near that marker. Stacey Thomas with the tackle, and with the, let's see where they're going to mark him down. That's going to be very close. And they will say first down.
And you know what? You got to give this Louisville defense credit. They've thrown a blanket over 2 of the top receivers in the conference thus far today. And that's where the issues have been for Peter Sirmon's defense in the back end. They've had 8 different guys start in the secondary this year. And they got healthy when they got number 10, Alexander, back. And he really sparked them last week. They held Virginia to just 277 yards after giving up 625 the previous week to Wake Forest.
Ishmael has 1 catch for 12 yards. Phillips 2 catches for 13. So the tandem of Phillips and Ishmael have been quiet tonight. Culpepper lets one go, and that's picked off, or is it? Yes. Intercepted by Tremaine Washington, his team-leading 4th pick of the season.
And Coach Petrino was very, he praised Tremaine Washington. He said he gave up a long one early last week and then knocked away 4 passes, did a great job, but I don't know if he got this one. Let's take a look. Looks like he got it between the legs. Hard to see if the ball hits the ground. Let's see it about this angle. Looks like he pinned it against his legs. I don't think it ever hit the ground. More than one way to catch a football, I guess. But I did not see the football hit the ground anywhere in that. Looks like the replay officials agreed. Doesn't appear they're going to stop it, and they don't. They don't.
Cardinals snap and a head full of steam for Malik Williams, looking for a second long touchdown run, and just gets caught by the ankle by Jonathan Thomas. Williams had a 46-yard touchdown run on the second play of the game, and that one he springs for 54.
And he is healthy now. And he broke a tackle from Evan Foster, and it looked like he was out the other end. And that was a great saving tackle by Thomas.
Williams now 8 carries for 124 yards. So he's averaging 15.5 yards per carry, thanks to a couple of really long ones, 46 and 54. Jackson to the end zone. Incomplete right at the goal line for Charles Standenberry, the tight end. Rodney Williams had the coverage.
And Syracuse got beat for 2 touchdowns last week on that very same play. Looks like they learned their lesson. Williams kept his eyes where they needed to be on his receiver and was able to make a play.
Rodney Williams getting the start early in the season. Antoine Cordy, the starting free safety, got hurt in the first game, and Christopher Frederick is the starting free safety. He got hurt. Those were a couple of big injuries.
It really changed the way they play defense for Syracuse.
Williams has inherited that spot, wide open at the 10, and this time Malik Williams out of the backfield drops the pass. About the only thing that's gone wrong for him tonight.
Right, he was thinking about his touchdown dance, I think, a little soon, because it looked like he got ahead of himself. You got to look it all the way in, and he didn't. You see his head turn upfield before he secured the football. Boom, that quick look, and that's all it takes, and you can lose that thing.
Jackson looks, time running out. He's going to take off inside the 10. Oh my goodness. All the moves.
All the right moves.
A 19-yard touchdown run for Lamar Jackson. The guy's a ghost. He can't be touched.
Apparently, Dino Babers might beg to differ, because he did touch him once. But this was a great job by the offensive line picking up the blitz. The safety came late, looked like he had an alley, got picked off, and then there was nowhere to go with it. And Jackson, all he needs is a little crease. He found it, and then it's over, baby.
When he gets into the open field like that, Ray, you know when he breaks into the secondary, all the defenders are like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, I stood up in my chair because I see it's coming. And here comes that blitz I talked about, picked up by Bentley. He gets his little seam there, and then, oh no, goodbye. And this is fun to watch. 42 points now as the Lamar Jackson show continues.
Well, Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. Rain starts to fall once again.
It's blowing the other direction now.
It is. It's totally changed. What hasn't changed is the play of Lamar Jackson.
It's fun to watch him, man. I tell you. Yeah, it's getting a little nasty again, and those flags were blowing straight at us at the beginning. And as we keep going, they're flipping around, and eventually they're supposed to go the opposite direction.
Yeah, what was a south wind is going to be moving around to north wind here now, and it's getting colder.
It is.
Riley hit hard and brought down at the 22. That was such a fun touchdown run. I've got to see it again, right?
Yeah, I do too. He put a move on Jonathan Thomas right at the end that, oh no. And anytime you drop your head as a tackler, you're done. But I tell you what I would do if I'm the Heisman guy, my vote. I'm going to put him right over here, and he's going to be number 2. And I still think Baker Mayfield, the way he's playing, is deserved right now to win the award. But I think Lamar Jackson's getting the raw end on things.
On the play fake, the pass is completed and tackle broken by Devin C. Butler, who keeps motoring all the way down to the 42-yard line of the Cardinals for a 34-yard gain. Dorian Etheridge with his team leading 8th tackle of the night.
Etheridge's been all over the field making plays. A linebacker, he's fun to watch too.
Culpepper hands off this time. This is Marquincy Pierre, a true freshman, number 22 out of Orlando, Florida, Liberty High School, getting his first carries.
Yeah, 15 carries coming into the ball game on the year. He's getting some action with Strickland out.
Pierre motions out of the backfield. Culpepper lets it go. Targeting Ishmael. Flag down. They'll make that no flag down, but it's incomplete. Alexander on the coverage.
Yeah, Jair Alexander, he had the glove thrown over the receiver on that one. I mean, that was great coverage on a really difficult route. Those comebacks, the deeper comebacks, those are difficult to make a play on the ball. And Alexander's just all over it.
Culpepper hands it off this time to Pierre, but he's going to be tackled for a loss by James Hearns. This guy led him in tackles for loss and sacks last year, and he's on pace to do it again this year.
Yeah, he's a really good ball player. He's fun to watch. He has such great acceleration and good eyes. He used his eyes to get out there on the edge and then making the tackle for loss, and Alexander came in and got a nice shot in on it as well. And those are the 2 best players on this defense, in my opinion. Although, I tell you, Dorian Etheridge, the freshman linebacker, is very close on their heels.
Off to Richter, that is, and a fair catch for Bonifon at the 10. 33-yard punt with no return. Well, let's look at some NCAA history. Colin Kaepernick in that pistol for Chris Ault at Nevada. Brad Smith at Mizzou. And how about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the guy on the far right out of all of them, but those are some prolific numbers, no question about it. And Kaepernick was really the first guy in that pistol offense that proved you could do that kind of thing. And Coach Petrino hired one of the coaches off of Chris Ault's staff, brought him in, and he said, "What is this?" He said, "This doesn't even work. This is no good." Then he got Lamar Jackson. All of a sudden, it changed. It got a lot better.
You have to have the personnel to run it, and even a great offensive mind like Coach Petrino had to recognize that. Bouncing off a couple of tacklers, Day Williams. Foster with the eventual tackle across the 25, a 16-yard run for the redshirt freshman Day Williams out of the Tulsa area, Sapulpa, Oklahoma.
And these are the kind of things this offense needs. Guys like Williams making plays and taking some of the pressure off of Jackson, although I kind of prefer Jackson to have the ball in his hands. It was fun watching him.
So at the 42-3 lead, they go into the I formation. And hand off again to Day Williams.
And they will go into this I formation and double up the tight ends. And play a little bully ball when they feel like they can do it. I mean, they did that a lot last week against Virginia, and it's also part of the deal of getting Lamar Jackson under center where he can make calls and do things like that.
Coach Petrino there, making sure no lip readers can steal his play call.
12 plays so far today has Lamar Jackson basically had off where he didn't have to make a decision.
On the option, that's a pitch that had more air under it than you will ever see. That had a hang time.
I mean, even his pitches are accurate with touch because he had to get it over top of somebody. So he sees the linebacker coming out, taking away. That's Ryan Guthrie. So he just pitches it over his head. Bonifant grabs it, and away we go.
Ray, there are just some guys that have a better feel for the game naturally, and he has that.
Yeah, you know, and people ask, how does that transfer to the NFL? I think it transfers wonderfully.
Overshoots Fitzpatrick. Let me engage you more on that, because most people would agree he would be a first-round pick, but kind of all over the board where he would go in that first round.
Yeah, and it just depends on the draft evaluation, and if somebody falls in love with him, he could come off in the top 10. I believe he's that good and that talented. I know they've rated him a little bit lower than that. I saw one service had him, I believe Mel Kiper had him 7th out of the group of quarterbacks coming out. Well, I don't know who them other 6 are.
Sean Riley back to receive the punt.
False start. Offense number 35. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, the false start will cost him 5.
Yeah, and Bobby Petrino agreed with my assessment. He thinks that Lamar Jackson will have a wonderful pro career. He just hopes it doesn't happen next year.
Yeah, Coach Petrino says, hey, I would love to have him back next year. But they have an independent individual who assesses that and gives the Jackson family some feedback. That'll happen in the offseason. Right now, Louisville in command.
The Allstate Saturday Kickoff is brought to you by Sam Adams. Fill your glass. And Degree Deodorant. It won't let you down.
Well, just prior to the game, 14 seniors for Louisville honored today on Senior Day. Here's Chucky Williams, number 22. Already has his degree, making his 37th consecutive start, and a couple of roses for the family.
Got a whole handful for him.
On Senior Day, Chucky Williams back out there. Over 200 career tackles now. Syracuse ball from their own 32. Culpepper lost a handle on it. That's a loose ball, and Syracuse does recover it. Now, obviously, it's raining again, and you would have to assume that that's played a part in that.
Yeah, you do, and then you also have a young quarterback who's really making his first time he's played a lot, but that one, you're right, it just went out the back door of his hand. He tried to throw it, and it slipped out. I don't know the size of his hands, and I haven't seen any other issues, but that one got away.
Loss of 7, a whistle, pre-snap, flag.
False start again.
False start. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
On the right guard, Evan Adams.
And I liked Adams, watching him on film. You know, this offensive line, they punch a lot. And you do that when you run the zone scheme. You punch the man next to you and try to get a hand on somebody. He's got a knockout punch. That guy,
he literally knocks him over.
He'll wallop you.
Now this is
getting epidemic. 63.
Right back on.
Penalty. 2nd down.
Evan Adams, second straight play.
I mentioned earlier they like to repeat plays.
They don't like to repeat false starts if possible. And I think Dino Babers is saying, hey,
he realizes where things are at right now. He knows he came in here probably pretty much with one hand tied behind his back without having this quarterback Dungy available, and he's looks like he's kind of resigned to the issue right now.
Neal, not much there. They need 2 wins to become bowl eligible. So 2 games on the schedule left, including tonight. So they really needed a win So when we talked to Coach Favors early in the week, said, hey, what about bowl eligibility? What's the team thinking with 2 games? They said, hey, we're not even thinking about a bowl right now. We just got to worry about Lamar Jackson in Louisville.
Yeah, he said, what I'm worried about is 845 yards, which is what Louisville put on Syracuse last year.
Culpepper sets up the screen, but off the hands of O'Neal.
Yeah, and those are, I don't know, the weather's not near as bad as it was earlier, but it is misting, raining a little bit out there, and those are another manifestations of not enough concentration under the conditions. And that's the thing that has to rise up. You know, how do you contend with the weather and the elements and all that? It's concentration, it's focus. You got to really bear down, hone in, and get after it. And we haven't seen enough of that.
Bonifant back to receive the Sterling Hoffrichter punt. Good boot will land at the 38 and take the Syracuse bounce all the way inside to the 25. 6:32 to play in this third quarter. 42-3 Cardinals. Big lead for with still 6.5 minutes to play in the third quarter from rainy Louisville. Look at this week's college football playoff. Western Mutual. Look at the top 10 here, Ray. Miami got a bit of a challenge from Virginia. Virginia played well, especially throughout the middle stages of that game, but Miami rolls to the 44-28 win. Out of the top 6 or 7 here, anybody else could sneak in?
I think it's up to the top 6 at this point, and really, to me, the playoffs start next weekend in the Iron Bowl, and then the week after that in the Big Ten championship game, and then also the ACC title game. So it'll sort itself out, but the playoffs start next week.
Paris Bennett just put a lick on Travion Samuel. Samuel popped right back up, though, after a 4-yard gain that he paid the price for.
And Bennett's the kind of guy, he'll play all 4 quarters. He'll come after you. There's no quitting in that guy.
Yeah, leading tackler last year with 110. Over 90 tackles now this year to lead him as well. Jackson hands off. And
Bennett again.
Yep, it's another tackle. That one of Dave Williams.
Yeah, he just shot the gap there. I mean, in my mind, as a former linebacker, he knew what was coming. He didn't even key anything. He just shot up there and blew it up.
2 times this year he's been the ACC linebacker of the week. He had a career high 17 tackles in the Syracuse Notre Dame game. Jackson with time and in stride and strike for a first down, but still on his feet. Finally wrestled down by Scoop Bradshaw and Seth Dawkins. 15-yard gain. You
know, one of the things I look at in quarterbacks, how quickly do they get the ball out, and what's the timing of that? Sometimes you can throw it too soon. And I got to tell you, Lamar is immaculate in his timing. That last ball there, it couldn't have been better. That was an NFL ball. I think he's going to be really good in the next level. I know a lot of people wonder about the running and how much of that he'll do, but I'm telling you, I see him as being very successful.
Cut upfield. It's a foot race, and that foot race is going to be won by Williams.
He won another one, huh?
Malik Williams had a 46-yard touchdown run in the second play of the game. That is a 56-yard touchdown run.
And that puts him at 9 carries for 180 yards, averaging 20 a tote and a pair of touchdowns. And they wanted someone to help Lamar Jackson. I think they found a guy.
That ain't a bad day, is it? Career high, as you can imagine, for Malik Williams, who is one of the seniors. Playing here on senior day. And the left foot of Cricky makes it 49-3.
And they just popped this one through the hole. Give credit to the offensive line. And I believe only one guy touched him, and if it was two-hand touch, he still would have scored.
It's a sound.
A career-high 180 rushing yards for senior Malik Williams. And a couple of touchdowns. 48-3 Louisville.
And I can tell you, Mark, going back to my college career, I remember vividly senior day. That's one that's going to stick in your head. And that's going to be a great memory for Malik Williams for the rest of his life.
Taken at the 10 by Nakeem Johnson. Well, Louisville has a season-high 350 rushing yards, and most of that coming from these two guys.
Yeah, it's a pretty good 1-2 punch right there. And, you know, coming into the game, Lamar Jackson led this team in rushing with 1,176 yards. But he's been challenged today by Malik Williams' production. Louisville player on the ground that's being tended to.
London Copo.
That's great balance. You saw the numbers run and pass for this offense, and that's about what you want.
Louisville with the win last week here over Virginia. Got their 6th win, so they've become bowl eligible already for the 8th consecutive year. And a win today would give them their 7th consecutive, guarantee them their 7th consecutive winning season.
And Bobby Petrino has never won less than 8 games as the Louisville head coach. So they got that on the line as well that they can still get to. And in talking about the bowl possibilities, I read an article that said maybe the Sun Bowl might be where they'll go, or the Belk Bowl. We'll have to see as things sort themselves out. But they are going bowling.
London Copo getting some help coming off the field, and Petrino with a handshake there.
I really enjoyed our sit down with Bobby Petrino. He's a different guy than the last time I saw him, and he was pleasant. He was humble. It was good to see.
Yeah, and you and I have had the privilege of chatting with Coach Petrino over a number of years at different schools in Western Kentucky, and obviously he went through some turmoil in his life, but he seems like he's come out the other side and seems to be more at peace. Good chat with him yesterday. There's Mo Neal. Across the 31 for a gain of 3.
And when we saw that picture of Coach Petrino, you saw Juwan Pass warming the arm up. I'm wondering if we may have seen the last of Lamar Jackson. I hope not. I'd like to see Jackson play a little bit more, but we'll see what Mr. Pass can do if they put him in. He's getting warmed up.
Well, if indeed Lamar Jackson declares he goes to the NFL draft, this is going to be his final home game. So the future very well be Juwan Pass at quarterback next season. The ball carries its way, floated out.
He didn't grunt that one out.
Devin C. Butler, 8-yard gain.
I think Culpepper got hit, and that caused the flutter ball. Unless he had it slip out of his hand again. We've already seen that once.
Culpepper under center. He'll pitch it to Neal.
12 men on the field for Louisville, so
that sounds like that's too many.
Yeah, one too many. They tried. They were running him off, but they made a late substitution. Peter Sermon's going nuts down there on the sidelines, yelling at people.
Illegal substitution by the defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, Peter Sermon's defense, when we talked with him yesterday, he obviously was concerned about the tempo of Syracuse, and his defense has handled pretty well today.
They have today, but throughout the season, tempo has really hurt them, and this defense has dropped off significantly from the previous year. And there's some scuttlebutt around town about what's going on with that defense. Now, taken up for them a little bit. They've lost 40 starts on defense this year from injured players, and so that's been a problem. But you see the numbers drop precipitously. The ranks drop precipitously compared to last season. And that might be your difference between a 9-3 and where they're at right now at 6-4.
That's DeAsian Richardson taking down Neal. The flag is out.
Richardson's a large man at 6'3", 326 pounds in the middle there.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 11. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's assessed to safety D. Smith.
And if you looked at Peter Sherman, you'd think they were down 46, not up 46. I love the intensity. It ain't over till it's over. You got to fight every last second. Scoreboard is irrelevant until the game's over.
Fake the jet sweep to Phillips, and it's run by Culpepper straight ahead to the 33 of the Cardinals, where he's met by Chucky Williams. Gain of 7.
You look at the future of this Syracuse football team, and I think it's still bright. They're not performing well today, but they're a little short-handed. I think Coach Babers has got him on the right track.
Neal, first down inside the 30. I'm going to say, though, that next week's an important football game for them. They're home against Boston College. Winnable game, and if there's always a way, I guess, you could sneak into a bowl with 5 wins, but it's unlikely for them. But I think it's an important game for them to finish the year next week.
Without a doubt, that last game of the year, I mean, people tend to remember what you did most recently, and so that's the one that'll hang on them for the entire offseason.
Culpepper to the 20. It'll be interesting to see what the quarterback situation is next week. If Dungy's able to come back, what they have seen from Culpepper today and Mahoney.
Well, Dungy, I've got him as a junior, and so he's got one more year left. But they have a true freshman, Tommy DeVito, that the fan base is all up excited about.
Yeah, he'll be redshirt this year. That's a run from O'Neal. DeVito's out of New Jersey. He was a 4-star ESPN recruit.
It'd probably be nice to have him another year under Dungy, kind of watching how things go, and then step into the mix. But that's all down the road.
It's the 9th play of this drive coming up for Syracuse. This is their longest drive as far as plays so far in this game.
And the bulk of it has come on the ground.
Cardinal fans making some noise. They want their defense to keep Syracuse out of the end zone. And a throw in that direction, and it's picked off by Kane Pass. He returns across the 30 to the 40, and then pulled down near midfield by the center Aaron Service. A 47-yard return. A flag comes out late.
Yeah, there was a little fisticuffs going on at the end. But Culpepper, that's young quarterback. Again,
the ruling on the field is an interception, and during the return, illegal block in the back by number 17 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Louisville ball. First down.
Dorian Etheridge hasn't done much wrong, the true freshman linebacker for Louisville, but he gets called for the push in the back on the interception return. Everything else, it's been a banner day for Dorian Etheridge.
No doubt. First career interception for Kane Pass.
And a frustrated Rex Culpepper.
You mentioned Etheridge, leading tackler in the ball game with 11 stops thus far.
Well, here's Juwan Pass, so it's like Lamar Jackson's day is over, and quite possibly we've seen him for the final time here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium in a Cardinals uniform. Movement up front.
New quarterback.
Snap infraction, number 75 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
A new quarterback can kind of change things, different cadence, different feel, up under center, and Robbie Bell, he wasn't comfortable with it.
Pass played briefly each of the last couple of games against Wake Forest. And then last week against Virginia.
Yeah, he hits on 69% of his passes in that mop-up duty, and he hit that one, but it was dropped.
That was a perfect pass. Dawkins just couldn't corral it. Pass, a big kid, 6'4", 220 pounds. Redshirt freshman out of Columbus, Georgia.
I admire his courage for coming here, knowing that Lamar Jackson's going to be the man. Come in here and compete.
Jackson does indeed go to the NFL. Big shoes to fill. Bonifant, except just a yard, third down.
And now maybe we'll get to see Juwan actually pass.
Yes, live up to the name. They do not have to snap it before the quarter went in, as they haven't even started the play clock yet.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Well, Lamar Jackson may have played his final home game here in Louisville tonight. If indeed it is, what a conclusion for him as a Cardinal here in Louisville at home.
Well, for sure, a great way to go out dancing. And that's the way to go out. I want to go out that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to go out, isn't it? We'll recap his night when we come back for the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson's evening is finished as we're into the fourth quarter, but through nearly 3 quarters that he played, the numbers were very Lamar Jackson-esque.
Yeah, I would say so. 111 yards rushing. I mean, they got out of the blocks today, and there was no doubt Lamar Jackson was going to do what he does, and he did.
Juwan pass sets up the screen pass. Malik Williams is having a career high day, adds to his rushing total with a gain of 9, but it'll be a 4th down. It's Lamar there in the center of your screen. It was back to us, but it'd be great if he can be one of the finalists in New York City. He can obviously go because he's a past Heisman winner. It's one of those things where he can knock on the door of the downtown athletic club any day for the rest of his life. And they'll be, hey, yeah, Lamar, come on in.
Yeah,
you're a member of the club. You think he certainly deserves to be there, don't you?
I do. And not only as the incumbent winner, but also as a finalist.
With the win behind him, Mason King with a long punt, 56 yards. We'll tune in tonight, Sports Center, 1:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 Pacific on ESPN. Find out who Mel Kiper Jr. thinks is the better NFL prospect. Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold. Plus, don't forget about Wisconsin. Whiskey today, the impact of Saturday's games on the college football playoff race, as well as the NBA Saturday night hoops. And a lot more. Linda Cohn and Kevin Connors on ESPN and the ESPN app. Last year, won the Heisman. This year, numbers as good or better?
The numbers are a little better. I think he's a better quarterback. That's through 10 games during the season last year and this year. But it's not just about Lamar. It's about the field as well. And I think Baker Mayfield, right now, should have the lead over the field in terms of who's going to win that thing. And I think pretty much across the board, unless he totally drops off and has a horrible game, I think it's Mayfield's to lose.
You'll never catch me doing that in these conditions.
Any
but
conditions.
Hey, they're having fun. And squeaking through is the freshman Mackenzie Pierre. Well, we promised that those flags would be blowing south at some point. Now they are.
Yeah, when the game started, they were pointed directly at us from that angle.
And it was about 68 degrees.
Yeah, now it's probably getting closer to 38. Maybe not yet, but it's on the way.
Culpepper hit as he throws, incomplete, and that ball was hanging up for a while and had a chance to be picked off. Grenard was in the face and got the late hit on Culpepper.
There's a flag right by the line of scrimmage. You can see the wind whipping the jerseys and shirts down there.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 63, 63 on the offense. The penalty is half the distance from the previous spot. That is number 63's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul for the game.
Yeah, but it's about his 4th penalty on the night. He had a back-to-back false starts, and now he's not enjoying it. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'd like to see a guy who don't like to lose and gets a little frustrated. Now, you don't want to push that too far and hurt your team, but maybe they need a little more fight like that.
But I think you take the meltdown in the second half last week against Wake Forest and then getting thumped for the 2nd straight year by Louisville. It
lead to some frustration.
Yes. stumbling. The air, no gain. It'll be a 3rd and 21. Ishmael and Phillips targeted 14 times tonight. 3 catches between them, 2 for Phillips.
And Culpepper's just 7 of 17 in his time in the game.
And he's in trouble. Trying to escape and then coming up, a hit applied at the 15 by Damian Smith, number 43.
Yeah, the quarterback play from Syracuse, if you want to point to one single factor today, that's where you're going to point. Just 12 of 32 for 121 yards and 4 interceptions, no touchdowns coming out of that quarterback position for the Orange.
Yeah, that was the big question mark coming in. We didn't know who was going to start. Number 1, Dungy, Mahoney, or even Culpepper. When it was Mahoney, then the question was how would he react after a great first half last week with a poor second half. That one into the wind, gets hung up. Will take a Syracuse bounce late and roll to midfield. So that bounce helped that turn into a 36-yard punt. 12 minutes to play in the Volt. Let's take a look at this All-State's all hands in. Jalen Smith, only 3 catches tonight, Ray, but 95 yards.
Yeah, and it's hands this week. Last week he just used one hand. That's just a great throw from Lamar Jackson. And he finds his guy down the field. And this is his favorite receiver. He loves to hit Jalen Smith on the deep stuff, and he did tonight.
72-yard touchdown catch on the play you just saw.
Getting a lot of production out of those grabs.
Dave Williams in as the running back for Louisville. 2nd series now. And Jawan Pass as the quarterback. And here's Dave Williams, breaks it, and then the turf made the tackle at the 40.
Last week, and now his left hand has been a little injured, and so if it ain't working, don't use it, I guess.
Especially when you have the dexterity to make a catch like that. Give Williams another. He goes for close to another 10 yards inside the 30, where he's hit by Williams and Bennett.
And with just a little over 11 minutes to go, Louisville's in their 4-minute offense. They're in the heavy package, and they're just pounding the football at the Orange front 7. And they're taking their time doing it.
Dave Williams had a little trouble with the exchange, and as a result, he's tackled for a loss of a yard by Paris Bennett and Kingsley Jonathan.
Yeah, Bennett tackled for a loss there. He just keeps playing hard, and those are the kind of things I always look for. Bennett, the leading tackler with 11 in the game, tied with Etheridge for Louisville.
UCLA, number 11 USC, 8 Eastern tonight on ABC. Rosen-Darnold matchup.
Yeah, you see those two guys? I would take Lamar Jackson over those guys. That's the way I feel right now.
Well, Lamar Jackson, we love the game of football, Ray. But there's only a certain number of guys that you just can't take your eyes off of, and he's one of those type of guys.
Oh, he's so electric. When he takes off running in space and open field, it looks like a video game. I mean, he's that quick and fast and explosive. It reminds me of maybe a bigger Mike Vick.
Taking a shot for Fitzpatrick. Touchdown. Nice throw from Jawan Pass.
Yeah, apparently Pass can do just that. Dropped it in deep down into the corner. A tapping of the toes by Fitzpatrick. That's a perfectly thrown ball. Got that right foot in. Boom. 6 more. Really nicely thrown ball. Although the spiral wasn't quite perfect, if you want to.
You want to be picky?
Yeah.
The wind's blowing a debris onto the field, but that didn't affect the point after to make it 56-3. Pass. Drops one into the hands of Fitzpatrick to add to the Louisville lead.
The Allstate Saturday Kickoff is presented by Allstate, official protector of college football fans, and in part by Aleve Direct Therapy. Get drug-free, deep-penetrating lower back pain relief.
It's even fun to watch in slow motion.
Yeah, he looks fast in slow motion. He's fastly closing in on Taj Boyd for the second all-time in career total yards in conference history.
Yeah, he passed Deshaun Watson tonight. You know, very disappointing, Watson, with the ACL injury. But if they redrafted, I'm sure Deshaun Watson would go higher than where he was picked.
And some people might think about that.
And that's where I'm leading with Lamar Jackson. You know, in some ways, a similar type of quarterback.
Yeah, although I think Watson was considered a better thrower, a little bit more of a pocket passer than what people consider Jackson. But I challenge them to watch the film because he's dynamite in the pocket.
Wind blowing that ball off the tee again. Juwan passes 29-yard TD pass to Fitzpatrick. He's made it 56-3 with under 10 minutes to go. Evan O'Hara kicking off. Needs a holder because of the breeze.
And the ball was falling off the tee the other way earlier today.
Johnson from inside the 5. Cutting towards the edge and is met at the 29-yard line. Well, Allstate proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. 373 rushing yards for Louisville tonight, which is the most they've had since they had 414 rushing yards against Syracuse last year in the Carrier Dome. Kept by Culpepper. Will be dropped to 35 for a gain of 6 by Henry Famarua.
He had to yank it out of Irvin Phillips' hands. It looked like Phillips wanted that one. We really only saw the tempo crank up on a couple of drives early in the ball game. Otherwise, the Syracuse offense, which wants to go fast, I mean, that's their calling card. They just haven't been able to do it. You need first downs to do that. That's been a bit of an issue.
Pierre runs for 4 yards. Malik Staples now in at one of the linebacker spots with the tackle.
Number 62, Derek Dorsey.
You know, it's a team, Syracuse, you know, averaging 88 plays a game.
Yeah, but just 69. Over the last 3 games, they've averaged just a hair under 95 snaps a game. So they're way under what they've been doing.
Came into this game, though, second in the nation in plays run per game. Only Mike Leach's Washington State team runs more per game on average. Trayshawn Smith stops Pierre. One true freshman on another. Dino Baber's team in danger. They're going to drop to 4-7 and 2-5 in conference and lose their 4th in a row. They have not won since that big upset win over then second-ranked Clemson back on Friday night at the Dome on October 13th.
There was contact, so they blew the whistle on the play. The defense jumped. The question is, were they drawn off sides?
Offside by the defense. 5-yard penalty. Second out.
And he didn't give you a number because there was about 4 or 5 of them. He got them all with that one.
This will be the 7th time Louisville has beaten Syracuse in the last 8 meetings. So the head-to-head matchup between these schools has become a bit one-sided in recent years. Two teams that were in the Big East together for a lot of seasons. Syracuse came to the ACC in 2013 and Louisville a year later. A catch caught in a stiff arm for Steve Ishmael.
That was a real nice throw from Culpepper.
Second catch of the night.
Got it out. Got it out on time. Zip on the ball. Enough so that Ishmael could do a little something after he caught it.
Pierre. That for just a gain of a couple by Damian Smith.
Number 20.
Big number 36, Chris Elmore's checked in. He's actually gotten a couple of carries tonight. Jet sweep. Hakeem Johnson turns that corner and gets stood up by Ronald Walker at the 25.
And this Louisville defense has been laying some hits on people today. And I saw the same thing last week against Virginia. Not so much the week before that, but it seems like they're coming together here a little bit at the end of the season.
London Jacopo was down earlier and shaken up once again, and will step aside.
Left to be played, and then you got Wisconsin sitting on the outside. Took care of Michigan today. Man, they roll through Ohio State, and they're going to be in. And Auburn, it's in their hands as well. How they finish the year.
Culpepper to the 15, and what we didn't add on the Oklahoma side is the Big 12's playing a championship game this year, so they could probably be playing TCU again.
Right, and it's always tough playing a team a second time around to beat them twice.
Run by Pierre. C.J. Avery now in, one of the freshman linebackers for Louisville, helping out on the hit, number 9.
Yeah, this is the kind of time of the game where you get a good look at some of your younger players. Some of the backups getting a chance to get out on the field under the bright lights. Practice is one thing. I've seen guys that they don't really impress in practice, and then the bright lights come on, and it's like, oh, wait a minute here.
Oh, you're talking practice.
Practice?
Gain of a couple there.
Talking about
playoffs,
practice.
and we're talking about practice.
Breaking all the rules.
Rain, misty rain is started again. Culpepper would like to get Syracuse in the end zone for the first time today. He's going to keep it and just throw it out of the back of the end zone. It was Tiberius Peterson in his face as he threw that away.
Yeah, he almost got it between the goalposts. Would they given him something for that?
3 points.
Dina looks cold, and it has gotten colder out here.
We came across Dino when he was at Bowling Green, did great things there in his short time. And the back, of course, was at Eastern Illinois, had Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback there.
Yeah, he's been successful everywhere he's gone.
Running towards the end zone, hard hit, but in is Phillips, and Syracuse finds the end zone for the first time tonight. An 8-yard run for Irvin Phillips.
And Phillips paid for it, but he's glad to do so to get him into the end zone. That was a pretty big pop. Nice little 10-play drive. Most of it on the ground. And pretty much against a backup defense.
Cole Murphy out of the hold of Zach Mahoney. Up and through. 56-10 with just over 5 minutes remaining. Fowler and Herbstreit get ready for the call from the Coliseum. Coming up just a matter of minutes. Rosen against Darnold. Let's see who takes the victory bell. Which they actually paint the color of the school, whoever wins that year.
That's nice. And we got another ball rolling off a tee. So, yeah, that's going to be a good quarterback matchup. I prefer watching Lamar Jackson myself, but that'll be a good one too. Still not particularly pleasant here.
No, it really isn't.
They're going to try and do it without a holder. Let's see what we get.
And out of bounds. That's what we get. The ball coming down to the 35.
That ball might have tipped just as he kicked it. I think I was waiting for it.
You were waiting for the Charlie Brown, were you?
Yeah,
Lucy?
I sure was. Murphy wasn't.
Kick out of bounds. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Well, Syracuse just had their best offensive drive. 11 plays, 71 yards, had 5 first downs. Found the end zone for the first time.
Yeah, and Dino Babers going to have to find some way to re-inject some confidence into this football team because they are running low on it after their past 6 quarters of football.
Yeah, there was movement on the left side of the Louisville offensive line.
Ball start. Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Toriano Roundtree they got on that one. He actually plays the tight end position on their PAT and field goal teams. He has to change jerseys to 89 from 70 because he's in an eligible position.
Trey Smith's come in as the running back for the Cardinals. Pass finds in stride. That's Corey Reed's first catch of the night.
Pretty impressive throw right there from Juwan Pass. Looked like he was on top of it. Got the read quick, zipped the ball out right on target. He's thrown the ball pretty well the few chances we've seen him go tonight. 3 of 4 now with a touchdown.
30-second timeout, Syracuse.
Syracuse.
That is their first charge.
Fans don't like that since it's gotten so cold. Well, who was hot? The weather was earlier, and so was Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he was, and it started out right away. He had a nice big run to open the game, and this in the 3rd series, he busted loose for a touchdown, just making people look small. And then he threw the football extremely well. I mean, he dropped that one in perfectly. You just see the number 9 defender coming in over the top. He had to kind of get it between those two, and that was a dime. And here's the change on it because he finds Bonifant on a wheel route. And that one's right into the end zone. And he can run it in too. That move he put right there on Jonathan Thomas is still an all-timer right there. He just slapped him by.
That was a beauty.
Pretty good night for the reigning Heisman.
Second down at 5. Carry for nope. Nice zone read there by Pass. He keeps it. Fooled me. He's out to the 45 and runs for 5 yards.
Yeah, I think it's a trademark of a Bobby Petrino coached quarterback. Very good ball handling skills. I mean, they do a great job of keeping it in that midriff on the ride, and then they pull it out, and everybody covers up, and it's like, who's got the shell? Where's the bean? And that time it was in Pass's pocket.
You know, the only thing you really don't see from the Petrino offense, which you see a lot in college football more and more, is the RPOs, the run-pass options.
Right, and he had a strong opinion about it, which mirrors my own. He said he don't like it, and he went so far as to call it illegal, and I agree on both counts.
Because you're a linebacker, and trying to defend that can be pretty hard.
You know, the one thing to me for football to be pure, you've got to be able to believe your eyes. Okay, and now when they're doing things where you can't believe your eyes, I don't think that's good football.
.389 rushing yards now for the Cardinals. Back to the I formation. Trey Smith is pulled down by Austin Valdez.
I love the I formation. I mean, that's what I grew up on, old football, because as a linebacker, you know they're going to try to run it ball down your throat when they get in. And okay, let's play that game. All this spread stuff, I don't know. if I'd have been able to handle all that.
How'd you like to have tried to catch Lamar Jackson in the open field?
How much of a head start you giving me?
I love the story you would tell me about trying to tackle Barry Sanders, where when he would look past you, you knew you had no shot to tackle him.
As long as Barry was looking at you, you're still in the game. What's the most disheartening thing that's ever happened to me is I got him lined up. I'm talking kill shot. Okay, here we go, babe. Next thing I know, he stopped looking at me. My heart sank because I knew I was coming up with air, and that's exactly what happened.
You knew at that point he was already looking past you to the next level.
Got you beat. He's going looking for the next guy.
Nice run by Trey Smith for the first down.
Lamar Jackson be a little different where you look at him, but if you don't look quick enough, he's going to be right by you already. That speed is unbelievable, and the explosiveness, the first step, and he's already at the top end.
Two-yard gain for Smith, Trey Smith. Wow, first 6 games, averaging under 200 yards per game with 12 rushing touchdowns, but on the last 4, same number of rush TDs. Doing a lot better, but how about tonight?
Yeah.
Game number 11 of the season.
Dropped a zip code number on him, 402.
Area code, right?
Yeah, area code, excuse me. I need a few more numbers.
Yeah. It's a carry for Harry Trotter into the game.
They are going deep into the roster tonight, which is an awesome thing to be able to do. You know, these guys who are playing right now, they work so hard. They do so much during the course of the season. They don't get the glory. They don't get to come out and run around on the field in front of 70,000 on weekends. And now's their chance to come out and get the reward for all the work they've done.
As you saw, more ACC action ahead here on ESPNU. North Carolina State at Wake Forest. Matt Vick and Morrison on the call. That's straight ahead just over a minute to go here from Louisville.
Evan Foster came up, made a nice hit.
That's Tobias Little getting a carry.
4th down now for Louisville, but they only have to snap the ball one more time to put an end to this, so we'll see what they end up doing.
There's the carry and the first down, and that's going to do it. 56-10, Louisville. There's another shellacking on Syracuse this year. Well, Bobby Petrino's team improves to 7-4, 4-4 in conference. Syracuse drops to 4-7, 2-5 in conference. 56-10, the final. Another big game from Lamar Jackson. Coming up next, we're going to send you to North Carolina State at Wake Forest with Matt Vick and Morrison. For Ray Bentley and our entire crew, I'm Mark Neely. Thanks so much for sharing this one with us. So long from Louisville, Kentucky. Let's send you to Wake.